We're going to take a look at Cammy's Cowboys in the draft, how it went for them. Look at overall the positions and division records. See the whole thing, how it looks. Okay. Quarterbacks: Eli Manning, Brett Favre. Neither one's a guaranteed starter from week to week. I'm sure he's going to be looking at the matchups to see who can produce the best. Shouldn't be bad production out of either one of them. Eli Manning's pretty consistent, pretty steady. Brett can go off for huge amounts depending on how his receiver situation turns out, so we have to keep an eye on that. Running backs, definitely a weak spot on the team. Matt Forte doesn't excite me. He's kind of a weak #1 running back. Ahmad Bradshaw, actually a very decent pickup. We're going to have to see how that plays out with Brandon Jacobs. Right now, Brandon Jacobs still slotted as the #1 starter, and Ahmad Bradshaw is only a situational third down back, but he also gets kick returns, so it's worth looking at. Donald Brown should be a good backup, #3 back, but that's it. One injury, and this team is really crippled hard on the running back position. Probably be running the run and shoot a majority of the season anyway. Not much choice otherwise. Receivers, we're looking at Miles Austin, Larry Fitzgerald, Deshaun Jackson, who also gets punt return yardage. Danny Amendola for St. Louis could be a nice little gem in there. We got Steve Smith, Kevin Walter, Early Doucette, Kevin Boss, Patrick Creighton, who also gets punt return yards. A lot of depth here, a lot of depth. But overall, Week 8 is going to be a huge problem for him with the bye weeks, the way they line up. Definitely have to run and shoot that week. There's not much of a choice, and going to have to, you're going to have very limited option at receiver too. You have a lot of depth, thank God, because you can cover it, but Week 8 is going to hurt. Overall, I think the record's going to wind up being around 5-9, division 3-7. You've got a pretty tough road. Looking at the division, it's not going to be an easy job for you. It's going to be, you might split with the other division 2-2, but it's going to be hard pressed. You're going to have to do a lot of scouting on the waiver wires and pick up a gem possibly at running back somewhere, or make a trade somehow, in my opinion, to get that into increase and get a couple more wins and possibly make the playoffs. It's going to be a hard one. Going to have to fight tough.
Okay, we're going to take a look at Mojo, new name for coach and owner Justin Wright. We'll start with quarterback. We have Kevin Kolb and Matthew Stafford. Looking at those, they're not stellar, but together they'll be adequate, hopefully more than adequate. We'll just look at the matchups and start the best one for the week. Real excited about seeing Kevin Kolb though. See what he can do as long as he tanks when he plays the Cowboys. All right. Oh yeah, let's not forget quarterback Michael Vick, taken in the 11th round now. That's just nuts. That's just him clowning around. So at least he has a position that he can get rid of and pick up somebody who's emerging on the waiver wires. Running back, we have Tashard Choice, Ryan Grant, Marshawn Lynch, Chris Wells, and D'Angelo Williams. So you've got some obvious starters there with Ryan Grant and D'Angelo Williams. That was the keeper pick, excuse me. So I'm not. It's a nice group looking at it, but if you look at the bye weeks, week 6, where you have 3 of those 5 running backs out, and really, Justin, are you ready to start Tashard Choice on that week? So you might look at that and be prepared to make a little change there. Looking at wide receivers, you have Dez Bryant. Really? Dez Bryant, rookie. You have Michael Crabtree, Mario Manningham, Mohamed Massaquoi. I don't know how to say that, but actually he's getting a lot of talk, and we might see some good production from him. Might start emerging to be pretty good. Eddie Royal, good thing about him is he's getting kick and punt returns, so you might get some point production from him. And Zach Miller, tight end from Oakland. Actually, you know, that's was a pretty good pick there in round 5. But overall, I see it as being kind of weak at the wide receiver position, and just pray that all of us were sleeping and didn't see what you saw in this group. But that's why they have sleeper picks, though. All right, you've got a kicker, and you've got some defense. You've got those Minnesota Vikings. Now that was like the number 2 defense overall, so probably going to be your starter every week. Fortunately, that Denver plays Tennessee in that week 4, so that's not so scary. It probably won't be that significant. So the predictions, I say it'll be 3-7 finish for the division, 5-9 for the league. The bottom line is we got a new team name, Mojo. That's kind of cool. But you're a veteran owner and shaking things up a bit, hoping you'll become a contender when you get your mojo back. Work it. All right, next up, we have the Cowboys, owned and coached by Lee Hernandez, 4-time runner-up champion of the entire league. So let's see what he's done. We'll start at the quarterback. He has Philip Rivers, and Mark Sanchez. Philip Rivers, let's see. You know, he's a really good quarterback. I love Philip Rivers, but I think what we've got to do is look at who he's throwing to. So Antonio Gates, yeah, he's a tight end, but he's going to get thrown to. Maybe we'll see Malcolm Floyd come alive, and maybe we'll see Vincent Jackson sign. So that was the first pick. I know you're picking 11, but Philip Rivers, I'm really kind of questioning that. Mark Sanchez will be a good fill-in for that a week 10 against Cleveland, so shouldn't have a problem there. Running backs, we have Jamal Charles, Montario Hardesty, rookie, Felix Jones, and Lindell White. Really not a lot of depth here. There's only 2 players that are off in week 4, so that could be a problem. Hopefully Montario Hardesty will start coming alive. I know there's some hope there that he seems to be making some significant impact. Barring some little ankle injury, I'm not too worried about. But I would suggest watching the waiver wire to see some emerging talent coming in the running back position. Looking at the wide receivers, we have Harry Douglas, he's up and coming. Donald Driver, a solid veteran wide receiver. Julian Edelman, Santonio Holmes. He's going to be suspended for 4 games for violating the drug policy. May or may not make a difference. You have Johnny Knox, who's getting some kick return yardage. Hakeem Nicks is solid. Reggie Wayne is solid. That was the keeper. Jason Witten, personal favorite. But you've got a lot of depth here. I don't see a whole lot of problems. You may run into a little bit of problem in week 8, but you've got plenty of bench to compensate. I do kickers and defenses when it kind of makes a difference, and I think it kind of makes a difference here. You've got that Jets defense, who's number 1 ranked right now, so not a lot of problems there. Actually, could be a difference in winning a game or not for this team. Let's see. The prediction for the division, 4-6, the league 6 and 8, but with some good management, I think maybe these numbers can be a little better. The bottom line is Lee Hernandez, he comes in prepared, he's smart, he's proven, and he can make his team work for him.
All right, we're going to take a look at the defending champion Lopes team by Chris Wilson. I have to say that he did a good job on his pick for a keeper there, in my opinion, Rashard Mendenhall. Nice pick there on the running backs. But taking a look at his quarterbacks, first of all, he's got Tom Brady, obviously going to be a starter for pretty much the season. And Vince Young is that fill-in. Not necessarily crazy about it as his backup, but he didn't have to start but 1 week for the entire year. At the running backs, I already mentioned Mendenhall, got Ronnie Brown, Reggie Bush, and Cadillac Williams. Not necessarily the strongest core of running backs, in my opinion. Didn't pick up his first one. Well, besides his keeper, he didn't pick up his first one until the third round. Went with receiver first, Brandon Marshall, but quarterback Tom Brady, and then Brandon Marshall, and then he went back with running back. So he was a little bit sub average on the running backs. It hopefully hasn't going to hurt his team too much, but he's definitely a little bit limited there. Receivers, Brandon Marshall we mentioned, Mike Wallace, nice pick there. Bernard Berrien, who gets punt return yards. Robert Meacham, kind of a little bit of a reach there, could explode if things worked out for him. But Greg Olson, a solid pick. Jeremy Shockey, a little bit questionable. Ted Ginn actually could be a very nice pick because he does get the kick and the punt returns. We'll have to keep an eye on that. James Casey has gotten a lot of people's interest out of Houston, so we'll have to see if he's able to get some playing time during the season. Of course, I don't cover kickers or defenses, so he's got that covered. What he needs until the bye weeks, no big deal. Overall, he's in a very tough division. I think his record is going to wind up being 5-9, division of 4-6. Like I said, he's going to have a hard time, and he plays a tough, even out of division schedule too. So it's going to be a tough job getting into the playoffs. It's possible. He's on one of those teams that's on the bubble, but it's going to take some work for him to be able to defend his crown.